Hello, my name is Jan Bush, and welcome to STEM Strong News. On August 4th, the Directed Energy Director of the Air Force Research Laboratory signed educational partnership agreements with two museums that have exceptional informal science education programs: Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum out of Portland, Oregon, and Explorer in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in order to innovate, collaborate, and reach out to the future scientists of America.
I am Cynthia Kaiser. I am the Chief Engineer of the Directed Energy Directorate, and it is my dear honor and pleasure to introduce the Director, Dr. Hardy.
It is a pleasure to be here. As Cindy says, I'm the Director of the Directed Energy Directorate, which if it isn't one of the most awkward titles in the Air Force, it certainly isn't in the top 10. However, it's a great job. I'm particularly pleased to be here for this educational partnership agreement signing. Technical excellence, science and technology superiority is key both to our economic prosperity and to our national defense. Historically, great advantage we've had in fighting our wars has typically been our economic power and our superior technology over the technology of our opponents. That really is at risk on both fronts. Almost all the trends show a world in which our preeminence can no longer be assumed. If you look at percentages of publications that are originating in the United States, number of scientific papers, number of PhDs, all of these, while we still have a pretty outstanding workforce, the relative advantage is eroding. So it really is important for us to, that's sort of, we're aware of all of that in this room, but for much of the public, that critical dependence and the need to have the workforce to sustain that superiority is not well understood. So we're very excited about this opportunity for us to aid in that whole process, in particularly on the educational outreach portion of it. I'm a scientist by proclivity and a physicist by training. My parents' standard joke was that when I was born, the doctor came out and said, "Congratulations, Dr. and Mrs. Hardy, you have a 35-year-old physicist." I come from a family that has sort of a tradition of technical interest. My dad was a very eminent polymer chemist. I had a grandfather who was a very eminent engineer. That's not the normal state of affairs in the country. I knew I wanted to be a physicist when I was 11. It was sort of, absorbed from the family I was brought up in. That really is not an opportunity or an environment in which many children are exposed. So I'm personally very anxious for any process by which we at the laboratory can aid in providing that sort of interest, because being a scientist is really cool. I've worked science for about 35 years. I've flown 40 different payloads in space. I've flown stuff on the space shuttle. It's one of the greatest professions you can have, and it is really, sadly, underappreciated quite often by our young people. What an exciting profession it is. What an exciting thing to do. To be able to understand how the universe works, and quite fundamentally, to be the people who really do create the future. We at the Air Force Research Lab, one of our jobs is indeed to support the current fight, make sure we're making sure short and mid-term needs of the Air Force are met. But one of our great jobs and joys is we help create the future of the Air Force, what the Air Force is going to be like 20 or 30 years from now. And I can't think of a more fun thing to do. I've been doing it for 35 years. I stick around because it's such a fun thing to do. We build cool stuff and we change the world. So it's a great opportunity to work with these two outstanding institutions to share with the larger public the work we've done here historically, the difference it's made, and quite frankly, how cool it is. And as a way of both being able to provide to the general public a sense of the great scientific tradition which is America, and also to provide a stimulus to our young folks that being a scientist, being an engineer is something really cool, and you can do great things.
more information, check out STEM Strong's YouTube channel, blog, or follow us on Twitter